Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Checklist, the weekly show where we ditch the scripts and reveal ourselves for the gaming buffoons we really are. The Division 2 is out this week, which reminded us of all those times spent in the dark zone gambling on whether or not to extract our hard-won loot, knowing that at any point enemy players could swoop down and steal the lot. This got us thinking of all the times we've taken a big risk, either in-game or with our gaming reputations. Nathan's first, and he's a bit worried he may have revealed his true nature to thousands of viewers worldwide.
So times I risked it all. You know, I was going to tell a story until Rob told me just a second ago that I've already told it on the channel, of the time where I competed with my friend Matthew for the title of the best Tekken player in the world ever. A match I did win, so I am still the best Tekken player in the world ever. But apparently I've already told that on the channel, so instead, my one is, I was trying to think about specific games that I've risked it all in. Couldn't really think of anything specific. So I tell you what I have come across though, what I've landed on. I tell you what I have landed on though is this: that I think being on YouTube, doing this job, and engaging with somebody like Dave in an ongoing competition, or a weekly competition of who is the best at a multitude of different games, was probably the riskiest thing that I've ever done in a gaming sort of scenario and environment. And the reason is,
you came off pretty badly, didn't you, in the end?
Twofold, Dave. And I'll tell you what, you've shown yourself up there. Because I was going to say partly what it revealed about us as people.
Right.
And it was not good for either of us.
I just play along.
I think if people haven't seen this as well, haven't seen what we're talking about, I'm talking about doing one-on-onesie on Access Granted, which we did for a couple of years, where Dave and I would take a new kind of party game or multiplayer game, or sometimes a classic one, and we would just play each other one-on-one, and the loser would have to get into the onesie, which I can still see at the corner of my eye, still feel the hot burning shame over there on the...
I can smell it.
On the rack, yeah, exactly.
Literally, when it gets hot in here, you can smell it.
You can, yeah. We really should have reconsidered our laundry policy with regard to the onesie. And there were some games I was good at, some I was bad at. But what it showed about us, Dave, was we're competitive in very slightly different ways, but we're both extremely competitive. We're similarly good at games. I'm slightly better, obviously, but we're similarly good at games. And I think that when you look at if you don't know what I'm talking about, and you go there, like, I think there is like a best of one-on-onesie little montage about 2 minutes long, and just it's quite painful it's fun. It's quite painful to watch though, as one of the people in it, seeing the tantrums that happen, seeing the screaming, seeing the things which mattered so much to me in a split-second moment, which now, like, I can't even remember those games, let alone the scenarios that we got ourselves into. And I think that it revealed a lot about me as a person in a way which I'm not sure was good. But also there is that thing, if you're on YouTube and you're playing games on YouTube and you're losing, there's always going to be a queue of people lining up to tell you that you shouldn't be doing it and you should be somewhere else, and just making you feel bad about yourself, you know. And I feel like I've really exposed myself to that, you know. It was very brave of me, I think. Yeah. I risked a lot.
Me too.
Thanks, man.
I'm glad I could come out on top.
What was your... I'm not sure that you did. There wasn't the last one-on-onesie.
I literally did.
Was when we played Trials Rising at EGX.
Yeah.
And I won.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah,
so you're only as good, like that saying, you're only as good as the last one, not the one before that,
that's
or all the other ones.
That's not how it works in like any other sport though, is it?
Oh, it's a sport now, is it? Playing me to not climb in a onesie, that's a sport.
Well, I like to think of it as
whoever loses this argument has to get in the onesie.
No.
That's all right, I've already won it. We'll just put the stats up, and then...
the little screen.
Yeah, that's right.
But there is, yeah man, just like every week, getting into a situation where I'm playing someone who wants to win as much as I do and is no better at games than I am, for sure, was really, really difficult. And I just want to pat myself on the back and say, well done, really.
Well done.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
I'm glad you're here, Rob, because I'm going to talk about several risks that you and I took together.
Oh, good.
It feels like we haven't spoken about PES, our PES Master League, in a long time. But
we've played our PES Master League in a long time.
I know, not after the live stream that we will never speak about. But Rob and I famously have been playing Occult Master Leagues for years now. I think we started it in 2013. Was it PES 2014? Yeah. In 2013, we started playing Occult Master Leagues. And we've had loads and loads of fun with those, but we and I guess as you'd expect, we've taken some risks, very specifically when it comes to player transfers. And the point, I suppose, of the Master League is, first of all, to take the team to success, take it up through the leagues, take them into the Champions League, hopefully win, you know, the treble or something. Which we did several times. But the other kind of, possibly the other kind of thing is to buy some actual players who are great. And I can think of two very specific examples of where we took a big risk on this. The first time being with Neymar. We wanted to buy Neymar, a good player.
He was like a massive punt, wasn't he? Like, because you have in PES, you get that little gauge that tells you how much they want to join your team.
I love that. So in PES, when you transfer players, there's a little gauge, like a little graph, and which tells you out of 5 how much they actually want to come and join your club. So if it's 1 out of 5, you know not really even to bother.
Sometimes it's 0 out of 5.
Sometimes it's 0 out of 5.
Neymar was 1 out of 5.
He was 1 out of 5.
So we thought, let's just have a go.
Yeah, and weirdly, he was up for it. He was up for it. Well, I say weirdly. I guess there was a very real factor, and this is where the risk came in, is that he was not cheap. He was very expensive. The transfer was going to be expensive. His salary was going to be expensive. He was out of our reach, but he was Neymar. I mean, when were we ever? He was 1 out of 5, Rosie, and he was up for it. But what we rolled the dice, and it came up. He was up for it. Neymar would join Crystal Palace if we could only find the funds.
Oh my God! Right.
So we did what any, manager would do.
Did you sell your whole team?
We
out?
sold as many of our good players as we could. Just roll the dice. Let's just get them out of here. And telling them, it was like a breakup. It was like, have we sold out? Have we sold the dream so that we can just buy Neymar? I mean, the end of this story is that, unfortunately, for whatever reason, and this wasn't an isolated incident, we also bought Iniesta at one point. I remember every great player we've bought, we've always been like, this time they'll come and they'll be amazing. Neymar, he just didn't work in our team. He just didn't work in Crystal Palace, I remember. He was
the top scorer the first season we had him.
I think this happened with Iniesta as well. Iniesta came and it's Iniesta, and he was just rubbish. I mean, I say rubbish. He was just another man on the pitch. We could never get him to do anything. That was a big risk that didn't necessarily pay off. I think we went on to success, sure, but it didn't really.
We won the treble with Neymar in the team.
Yes.
He was never he never lit up the team as we were hoping.
No.
I mean, he did. He was our top scorer, and he was.
It's left a bitter taste in my mouth. That's for sure.
I probably, in hindsight, would have rather had the 3 players we sold. Back.
Yeah, definitely. Neymar. We're sorry, those players, wherever you are.
So I have taken a very big risk, and this risk is ongoing. And the risk I have taken is that prior to the announce of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, I have sort of bigged up my ability on Crash Team Racing.
Yes.
It was a game from my past that I remember fondly, that I played many, many, many times, and I was really good. I was the best out of me and my sister.
Yeah.
Which was,
to you is the world.
And and when you're a kid, that is the world, isn't it? Beating your sibling at a game is, everything.
Yeah.
Dave won't know because he's an only child.
That's right. That's why I like single player games.
Oh, Dave.
But last year at EGX, on our stage where we did live streaming, we came up with the brilliant idea of pitting me against members of the audience at the original Crash Team Racing on PS1, which initially I thought was a great idea. I thought, that would be great fun, Crash Team Racing, until the day arrived and I was like, oh my God, I'm actually going to have to...
What if someone beats me?
Well, I'm actually going to have to play people at Crash Team Racing.
Complete strangers.
In front of a live audience. And it's also going to be live streamed on YouTube. And then after that, the video is going to stay on YouTube as long as our channel is on YouTube.
You can go and watch it right now.
You can go and watch it right now. The video has the rather inflammatory title, "Is Rob unbeatable at Crash Team Racing?" To which the answer is no.
His answer right now, they don't need to watch it.
And it was a big risk, and I was very nervous on the day and I think I didn't embarrass myself. I can say that I played not to a standard that I know I'm capable of, but considering all the factors, like not many people know what it's like to play a game live. It's a lot different to playing a game just in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing a game live and you're looking at a tiny TV screen there, and there's all these different kind of things happening. So I think with all of that in mind,
it was the same for these strangers who came up, you know. And
yeah, it was.
Yeah, no problem. Oh my god, I'm
But
going
they-
against like Rob. He's the famous CTR
but
player.
they didn't have all the pressure, did they? They were saying they've been good at Crash Team Racing on YouTube for ages. But I won most of my games. I lost a couple. Only one I lost fairly to, I would say. I lost 2 matches. One, honestly, like, I was winning the entire time, and he just kept... When you're at the back in Crash Team Racing, the game gives you weapons to help you get to the front. So it gave him rockets, it gave him the special blue orb that hunts down the person in first place, and he hit me with that, and it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
And my cart sort of like rolled towards the edge, and then the camera did something weird, and I'd fallen off the edge of the track and I hadn't realised, and so that was the last corner. So he just overtook and won. That was unfair. I should have won that race.
Did you understand it, Rosie?
I did understand it, but
all
I'm
I
think-
heard was me, 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 me.
I'm just thinking about that poor person you were competing against, like, oh, I did really well, and now you're like, it wasn't fair.
Nah, that person admitted it on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
They
For God's
admitted.
sake.
They admitted that,
You're square,
that,
you're
they,
even.
that they didn't deserve to win. The second person who beat me, again, I was out in front and they got their special "you're at the back" weapon and hit me with it. But then, to be fair, I could not catch them afterwards. They stayed in front of me for the whole race. I couldn't close the gap. So fair dues, they were very good. But anyway, now the risk I'm taking is I've continued to say how good I am at Crash Team Racing, and there is obviously Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is coming out later this year
I feel a competition coming
with
up.
online multiplayer.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
So-
of course.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to have to play it because people are following me on PSN. People can see what games I play, they can see what trophies I have, and so if I'm not on there getting the platinum for Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, then
Your whole reputation.
my
Yeah.
reputation is at stake.
Yeah.
Right, so my entry isn't anything I've risked as in my life, but more in the video game life. Because I've never been, I do challenges when people, because recently, for example, someone I know said, oh, if you beat all the Mega Man X games, then I'll treat you to a meal. I'm all up for a challenge like that, but I myself would never say that.
Right.
But I do
Did you do
remember,
that? Did you get the meal?
I haven't beaten the Mega Man X games yet, and
Okay.
I'm struggling. But that's why I've been
hungry.
challenged. But my entry took me back to my childhood. When we said we were going to talk about this, it took me back to Chicken Run on the PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Now, did you
You're bringing out
guys...
some bangers, Rosie. I have to say.
Chicken Run on the PS1 is a fantastic game. It's Metal Gear Solid, but Chicken
chickens.
Run. It's fantastic.
Is this as in the film? Chicken
Yeah,
Run?
it's an
Okay.
Alderman's film Chicken Run,
Yeah.
and you're Ginger in the game, and you've got to go around the whole farm picking up like a butter knife or something like that to
Yeah.
help you build. Let's say, remember in the film you had the scene when they all dress up as Mrs. Tweedy?
Yeah.
That's kind of like the end level to the first area. So you have to pick up all these, like a bit of cloth, some Wellington boots from all around the farm in order to build this and then attempt to escape the farm.
Got ya.
But now this is where I risked it all to my childhood self.
Okay.
Because when you've picked, let's say I've gone into Mrs. Tweedy's, I've gone outside her front door and I've got her wellies.
Yeah.
Now, this game, when you're a kid, is intense because this is where the Metal Gear Solid element comes in. Because when you go out of your hut, your little chicken hut, you've got Mr. Tweedy on the look for you, you've got his dogs on the look for you, and you've got Mrs. Tweedy. She sometimes pops in here and there, mumbling to herself. And if any of them see you, you get this terrifying music. It's like dun 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 dun, and this terrifying like PlayStation 1 graphics of a dog with its teeth out staring at you, Mr. Tweedy looming over you, and you've lost the item that you've just found, and you get sent back to the chicken hut, and you've got to do the whole thing again. Now, when you're a kid and you find getting caught by the guards, let's say, really terrifying, but you know you've got to get the item and make it back to your hut to give it to a specific chicken for them to build. That is terrifying, and I just remember being like a little kid, and I was just like, okay, I've got the sticks, I'm gonna immediately run back. Like, I could have picked up the wellies, but I didn't want to risk losing the sticks. So I immediately then tried to run back to the chicken hut.
So can you technically get all the items in one run?
Yeah, you could.
If you're brave enough.
Yeah, I mean, I actually replayed it recently, and I still love it to pieces. And I managed to pretty much get to the end section in, I'd say, maybe around 2 hours or something. The fear of losing that one item that you've just tried so hard to pick up, but you know you've just got to keep on, and then, yeah, you know you've got to keep on doing it and sometimes risk it, sometimes get more than one item. I just remember that being a huge risk for me when I was a kid, and I actually found it really, really scary. But besides the point, Chicken Run is just a very nostalgic feeling, probably one of the first where I truly felt as if I risked something, but it wasn't for me on the outside human life, it was for Ginger and my chicken friends in Chicken Run.
Did you do it? Did you finish it? Did they escape?
Yes. Well, they escaped once for me. Considering how many times I've played the first segment, they escaped once.
Okay. God bless them.
But I'm proud of them. Proud of my chickens.
You got it level, I think. That's when I was like, oh, I'm worried Dave's level.
There you go, see, I got it level, yeah.
And then I won 10-5.
Yeah, oh, congratulations. You've been playing for years. That was literally my second go at the game.
That's my point, Dave.
Right, exactly.
My
but I'm
point
saying,
is...
I know, but I'm going to spend years now. I've started training already.
Well,
but you can't get the years back. I'm going to be playing it too.
I've got a deal with Activision. They've let me in. They've let me in early. I'm playing it every day.
Already.
All this sick leave I've been having, it's not sick leave, Rob, it's training.
It still won't be enough, Dave. You can practice as long as you want, Dave. You still won't beat me. Anyway, let us know in the comments about any times you've taken a massive video game related risk. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video and hit the notification bell so you know instantly when a new Tuesday checklist goes live.
For the players.